Hello everyone and welcome back to episode 18 of Land of the Knuckleheads. We've been here a while talking to you about how you can deal with the knuckleheaded manager. And what's a knucklehead? Somebody who's got the right intentions at heart, but they just do it in a way that hurts their employees, drives their momentum and their motivation down. And we want to give you some tips and skills on how to deal with the knuckleheads. In this episode, I want to talk about broken promises. I think this is such a critical topic, and I want to talk exclusively to the managers first, and then I've got a couple tips for the employees. If you are a knucklehead and you've broken a promise to your employees, do you recognize how damaging that is? Trust is a fragile commodity in business, and if you break trust with an employee, what's going to happen? They're not going to trust you, they're not going to give you their full effort, and then mediocrity starts to set in, and then you can pretty much watch as your entire department starts to drift. And really, it's totally avoidable. Don't make promises you don't plan to keep. Now, you might think, well, that's not really fair, Ron. Sometimes it's out of my control that those promises I make and my boss undermines me. Oh, well, here's a clue. How about you figure out the context with your boss and make sure that they're not going to undermine you? I mean, it's pretty simple, guys. Don't make promises you can't keep. There's another way to deal with this I want you to think about. I want you to think about sandbagging. And I don't mean this in a negative way. I mean, every manager does this to some extent. When you're going to make a promise, especially on a performance target, set a goal you know you can achieve. Difficult, but you know you can achieve it. And you know that there's a little more that you could do. And that way, if you overachieve, you're a hero. If you underachieve, you still hit the goal. And then you don't break the promise to an employee. It's really critical you get that. Another really important thing that you need to do is monitor your employees' progress toward goal achievement if the promise is something like a bonus or something else where there's got to be a performance level hit. So monitor progress, make sure that they're getting it done. And if you do those things, if you set goals that are achievable, difficult but achievable, you monitor performance and you learn the context and you stop making stupid promises that you can't possibly achieve, what you find is that your employees are going to start to trust you more and everything gets better. The final thing is, if you do make a promise that you have to break, apologize. But here's a really critical lesson. You get one strike and you're out. It's not 3 strikes. This isn't baseball. This is business. You get one strike. If you betray them once, they're not going to trust you at the same level again. Please get that. So if you make a mistake, apologize immediately and then make a plan to correct it and execute the plan. Because if you fail again in that exact same area, if you make another promise and break it again, they will not trust you again. Now, if you're an employee and you're working for a knucklehead who makes promises and breaks them, the first thing I want you to think about is lower your expectations with that boss. Now, this sounds kind of cynical, but if they're the kind of knucklehead who's making promises and not keeping them, it's the best way to deal with it. Lower your expectations in regard to them. Recognize that they're probably going to break their promise in the future. There's nothing worse than living this definition of insanity where you get all excited about a promise that was made and then in the 11th hour, bam, it's dashed and you're devastated. Well, here, how about you pull back on your expectations and recognize, they might not achieve this one, so I'm going to give it my best effort, but I'm not going to expect the reward at the end because I can't trust them as much as I'd like to. So make sure you adjust your expectations a little bit. The next thing is, under no circumstances should you perform at a lower level, because that pretty much guarantees that if they made a promise to you that's based on performance, that pretty much guarantees you're going to fail. So don't do that. Perform at the highest level, lower your expectations, and give your boss some grace. Give the knucklehead a little bit of grace. They're probably just not very good at setting expectations. Maybe they haven't met me yet. Maybe they don't understand how devastating it is to make a promise and break a promise. So give them a little grace, forgive them, and then move on and do it again. So that's a little bit of advice for how to deal with a knucklehead who breaks promises. Thank you and lead well.